All right, folks. Welcome back to another episode of BEG Wrestling. We are here today to talk about some rule changes and some recruiting.
This is a bad idea. I'm in a bad mood. I'm hungry. I have to drop some pounds. And probably shouldn't be making a podcast when I'm grouchy. Just saying right now.
All right.
Just saying.
We're all fired up here. All right, but we'll dive right into it here. As I'm sure everyone has heard, we have had several proposed rule changes. Now, the coaches have a 2-week period to review these rule changes, and then the NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel meets June 8th to discuss the coaches' recommendations. However, I think in all likelihood these are expected to pass, are they not?
Well, I mean, if you listen to all the different media out there, the 3-point takedown that might get shot down, but I do expect most of these go through.
Well, I'll tell you, Shane Sparks is not a fan of that 3-point takedown. Why don't we talk about that one first?
Yeah, and that's a big influence right there. I mean, and he's quite vocal about it, which...
He sure is.
What's your thoughts?
See him on Twitter. I personally love it. I mean, I think about it, you kind of compare it to every sport goes through rule changes. Baseball just put that time clock on. Have you seen how much more exciting baseball is now?
That is cool.
That
is cool. I like that.
So these games are getting done so much faster. The NBA added the 3-point line. The NFL, NFL plays around with the rules every single year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get stuck in your ways. And at the end of the day, I like scoring. Yeah. I think wrestling needs more scoring. I read the Flow article about the coaches panel, why they made these recommendations, and the trends over the past 3 years: scoring's down, tech falls are down, audience is down.
Yeah. Well, my knee jerk was exactly that. Everything you're saying. I was thrilled about it, happy, more action. Then the more time I thought about it, first thing that stuck that just bothers me is a reversal isn't worth the same amount of points as a takedown. And to me, it takes as much skill to get a reversal as it does a takedown. And so I think them two should be the same. So that bothers me. Every single other one, hands down, I absolutely love. The taking a loss for the medical forfeit, that should have been done a long time ago.
I do like that a lot. That's unless it's following an injury forfeit match. You don't have, if you medically forfeit after a prior injury forfeit match, that's not considered a loss.
You have to take one loss.
Correct.
Yeah, you have to take one loss, which just makes sense. The brick, where you're throwing the brick out, and the way it was before is everything after what was being protested gets erased. Well, that was stupid too, because you're in the middle of a flurry. Say a guy at the end of that flurry got the escape, and because we're protesting the initial takedown, that escape got eliminated or whatever. They're going to look at the whole process. Love that. I love the change in the top wrestling. It's no longer you have to ride to turn or you're going to get hit with stalling. I'm sure if you're riding parallel, it's more like high school. All for that. That's excellent. To me, that's a big step. I like it. I hope it gets passed. I think it's going to be good for the sport. But the more I thought about all these rules, I cool the jets on increasing the takedown. I keep the takedown too, and let's just see for a year how it goes. But and a lot of people think that way. There are some things that didn't get addressed that I wish would have gotten addressed. The overtime. To me, that double overtime, the little trick that you get where I ride my guy out and then I'm going to go neutral because it's actually harder to take me down than to escape. They should have addressed that. They could have been very easy. You have to take top or bottom. You can't take neutral. in double overtime. I think that could have solved that. A lot of people were calling for step outs. That's not make it completely like I want freestyle and folk style to be separate. To me, they're making ground with this push out. They're getting more aggressive. If you're the first one out of bounds, you're getting hit with stalling. I know the objective call, or I'm sorry, the subjective call of that was action. Nobody's going to get a stall out there. That's up to the refs, but I like how it's the direction it's moving. That if you're the first out of bounds, you're going to get hit with a stall. So I don't know. We have to go a point. I don't like the moving towards sumo wrestling. I just
that wasn't officially. It wasn't a proposal, was it?
No.
I don't believe. No, that's just Twitter. That's Twitter. That's tweeter talk.
Yeah, and
Like to say.
I'll tell you the one I think they should put a time limit on when bricks are thrown. How long they have to decide. Now this has nothing to do with the wrestlers, but we seen that one protest where the brick was thrown, and it was the Alirez Woods final, and it took them like 10 minutes to decide.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, you gotta no. Here's your time limit. Stop prancing around back there. You got to make a call. You got to see it 8 times now. Make a call. Yeah, and there's a time limit there.
That's a must because you're playing with momentum. I think this used to be a problem in college sports when they first came out with these review processes. And, yeah, I mean, it was like I remember specifically in college basketball. I mean, in basketball, especially college basketball, momentum is everything. Mm-hmm. In wrestling, you have that momentum. Then you have a 10-minute review. Come on, not to mention the stamina factor.
Yeah.
Whoever worked harder is in better shape. Well, that advantage is now gone because you just had a 10-minute break.
Yep. I'll tell you though, the if they went just with the no riding point unless you get a turn, what's going to take place is, as you're wrestling, you're going to get the feel. You know what? I don't think I can turn this guy, and you're going to just cut him because, especially if say you're the favorite. I'm supposed to beat this guy 10-4. And he's hanging right with me, only 2 points back. Say that the takedowns didn't get changed. He's hanging with me 2 points down. I'm not earning anything here by riding on the top. I'm pretty certain he's too strong or too this, too that for me to get a turn. He's going to cut him. He's going to cut him. It will create more action, which is what we want. Yeah.
Well, that one alone will create more action. Yeah. I mean, and now that we talk about it, I mean, I don't think if all of these proposals hit, I mean, the significance of the change in the sport is going to be pretty drastic. I mean, you mentioned just that one simple situation, not to mention if takedowns are now 3 points. I don't think you mentioned the 3-point near fall coming back now. I mean, and a lot of these things, okay, the brick throwing and you can only review one move. That doesn't make any sense, okay? The 2-point or a 4-point near fall, what? We're just skipping 3. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
a lot of these just don't make. There's common sense rule in life. If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't sound right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So 3-point near fall, I'm definitely in support of. Let's go ahead and assume that these changes are upheld. These proposals are upheld. I want to ask you, maybe specific wrestlers or overall teams, who is this going to benefit? Who would these rule changes benefit? And who would they hurt?
Well, a lot of people right out of the gates are going to say, well, this is going to hurt Penn State. Oh, another big one was that ankle ride. You're sitting on the ankle. You'll get the 5 count. Absolutely for that. And here, my team, the team I love, is known to do it the most, but that picked up this past year. Almost everyone was using that. Totally agree. If you're not working for some sort of turn, then that's just going to create action right there. It's going to create openings for the bottom man. And I'm all for it. You could say Penn State's going to get hurt.
Is that the only reason Penn State's going to get hurt?
No, Penn State ain't going to get hurt.
I would argue the opposite. I think this is just going to further benefit the dynasty, the empire of Penn State. I know this past year they don't have some of the super aggressive wrestlers, and I'm talking back in the Jason Nolf, Bo Nickel days, but I think
They were starting to come on there.
they were starting to come on, and yes, traditionally, I would say Penn State is the most aggressive team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At scoring, the whole philosophy is to score. And you'll hear a lot of teams. You notice a lot of teams are following suit with Penn State, too. And there's teams, the Oregon States out there, the Iowa States. There's a lot of teams that I think we brought this up before, but it's almost like Windows. That's great. And then all of a sudden, Apple came along. And it's almost like Kale changed the game. And look, if you can't beat it, learn from it. And I think a lot of coaches are doing that. And I think you have a lot of coaches that are stuck in their old ways. And it's showing. And I mean, the number of takedowns Penn State has, they always announce the number of takedowns at the end of the duel. And it's just mind-blowing. And like I said, a lot of Penn State's guys were coming on more at the end of the year. The Van Nesses,
Well, yeah, especially in the finals, in the championships.
the Bartletts, but
The Van Ness who came out of nowhere. But so I feel it's going to help Penn State. I mean, I tell you right now, I feel like eliminating that riding time point without a turn, I feel like that could hurt Iowa.
yeah, that's a whole subject, that daggone. Iowa's whole philosophy, I question, and I'll tell you the honest truth. I think of myself as, okay, if I was an Iowa fan, where would I be right now? And I'm here to tell you, I'm angry. I am angry. I'm angry at just the whole general. We're supposed to be the champs. We're supposed to be the kings. And all of a sudden, I look around, we're not. I know we're building a brand new stadium. We'll have the best place to go wrestle. We'll have the best practice facility in the whole nation. But that doesn't change a whole bunch of stuff about the culture of Iowa wrestling and the unwillingness to change. And personally, I don't want anything to change. I love everything. I love the brands. I think they're entertaining for the sport. They're good for the sport of. I hope that Iowans don't get frustrated. And ultimately, I know this. If I'm an Iowa fan, I'm looking for something to blame right now because I've had one championship in 13 years. They ain't going to win it next year. Well, somebody will say, well, what if they get all three Ferraris? Say AJ got acquitted or something. He's on the team. The other two Ferraris on the team. Say they got Nadal. All of a sudden, okay, they're more competitive. Are they going to beat Penn State? No, not next year.
Well, we'll talk about why. But before we move on to some of these recent commitments, let's go down the line on these big rule changes. I want to hear whether you support it or are not in favor, and I'll tell you the same. Starting with the 3-point takedown, apparently you're not in support of that.
I'd be no. That's just wait a little bit. Let's not go so drastic. It's just we got a big one in here.
Okay. I got to be honest. You've kind of swayed me over this. I almost need some more time to think about it, but I'm going to go with my initial reaction, which is in support of the 3-point takedown. I love scoring. Let's up the ante on the scoring, and especially on your feet. Moving on, the 3-point near fall. To me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Yes.
just made sense.
Yes. Okay. Eliminating the riding time point without a turn.
Absolutely. Love that. Love it.
I also love that, and that is one that, after you talked about it, I don't think I realized how much that's going to change the approach of overall matches. And I would almost reconsider and say, let's wait a year with the 3-point takedown. Let's see how much the eliminating the riding time point without a turn. Let's see how much that's going to affect the sport. But
And I talked about a guy's going to cut him if he feels I can't turn him. The other thing about cutting him is if you're parallel, you're going to get nailed with stalling much quicker now because they actually put that into the wording. You have to ride to turn. So especially this coming year, it's almost like that year they said hands to the face. The refs, the first year after rule change, they go a little nuts. Well, they're going to be quick triggered at calling a stall on the top guy this coming year. So the top guy's going to say, I can't turn him. He's going to cut him.
Cut him loose.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge change. But all right, we're both in support of that. We didn't really talk about much the no more hand touch takedowns.
Oh, yeah, no reaction takedowns. That should have been that way from all. Now all takedowns are the same. You get reaction time. The guy that's getting the takedown has to have some sort of control. The best example is the Dean Laird match. Should have been done. That should have never even been a rule.
Another common sense rule we are now both in support of. And then finally, I guess the last big one would be the refs, providing the refs the authority to review the entire play, not just one simple move.
Yeah, the whole thing gets
coaches manipulating it.
Yeah.
A match by throwing a brick at a certain perfect timing. And we're both in support of that. So
absolutely.
Looking forward to June 8th, folks. We will find out the final results. But as you mentioned, Iowa fans not too happy right now. Let's talk a little bit about why we've had some big names, some big dogs making commitments here in the past couple weeks. And we'll start going down the line here. Bernie Truax. Mm-hmm. Where's he going?
He's going Penn State.
He's going Penn State, baby. How's that going to work, though? And with that weight, there's a lot of big names there and similar weights.
The whole thing about Bernie getting offered $250 from Iowa, whether that's true or not, it's been so widely spread on the forums, on the talk shows, on the podcast, that it's almost one of them things that you just believe happened now. Whether it happened or not, we don't know. We do know this. Apparently, it's true. Bernie took no money to go to Penn State. Now, whether an NIL deal forms after that, I don't know. But I tell you, this whole NIL thing, I gave an example last episode if I'm a rich business owner. Mm-hmm. And it's illegal to make an NIL deal with the speculation that you have to attend a particular university. So anyone that's using money to persuade a guy to come wrestle at their school, that's illegal. And so we get into dangerous grounds there, both you would think for the coaching, for the school, and even for the wrestler's reputation. But you also have now I lost my train of thought. Wow. Daggone.
You can't be looking at my computer. What were you just talking about?
Well, if I'm a business owner and I could simply say these words, Zach, once you're signed up and everything at Iowa, I have an NIL deal for you. It's big. It's 6 figures. But I don't really have the time right now. I'll catch you after you sign up at Iowa, and then we'll.
I was going to say, how do you police that? I mean, It's just one of these things that it's so new, and there's just, people are manipulating the stock market, and there's Enron out there. This is a brand new thing. People are just working around.
It comes to
technicalities and the rules there. But
there's a lot of people against this, but the 1 year wait, if you're transferring, I don't know. How do you eliminate that? How do you eliminate college sports? And in this case, only one we care about is college wrestling. How do you eliminate it from becoming sort of like professional sports? And I mean, apparently there's very little you can do as far as restrictions on the NIL. I mean, it's already out there that that's illegal. You can't specify attending a school, but there's, our example, you can kind of skip by that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Personally, I just want everything to stay the same. I don't want every year. You know what? If who's the dude that has Twitter? What's his name again?
Like 30 million people have Twitter.
No, the dude that owns it.
Oh, Elon.
Yes. Okay. If Elon all of a sudden is he's a Lehigh fan. You know what? In about 2 years, he could have Levi, the champions of all college wrestling.
If Elon, it'd be year one. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. See, I don't want that.
Well, newsflash, it's changing. It already has, and it ain't going back to the old ways. We have to adapt with it. I think we got to figure it out. We got to put some regulations on this, and we will over time. I mean, college, you hope. I mean, college, the NCAA is just such a debacle. I mean,
But the one thing I do like, the Penn State, the two big, Mesenbrink and the Truax.
Wow.
I mean, even Mesenbrink, he in his interview to Flow, he said not even 0.01% of NIL had any influence. And I tell you, this is a big factor. The whole culture, the whole mindset. If you take a big NIL deal, let's just say somehow you're convinced, okay, it wasn't illegal. It wasn't illegal. You cannot tell me you're not feeling pressure because you just got whatever. Let's throw an amount out there, $100,000. You got $100,000 to come wrestle here. Apparently, maybe it's more than that, the way the rumors we're hearing. But all of a sudden, the key to what's working for Penn State is you don't want pressure on yourself. You want to have fun, and you want to become the best you can. And all of a sudden, you have that little pressure. I'm saying it's putting you in the wrong mindset right out of the gates to, I got paid, I got to perform. No, you keep it fun, and you keep hungry, and I think there's more of the mental aspect to this than what you realize. Like, Kale's winning because he's got his teams at the right spot mentally.
well, so okay.
I didn't word that right. I didn't.
Well, you mentioned how these NIL deals are going to affect the wrestler getting paid, but I mean, are we thinking about how it's going to affect the wrestling room? How about the wrestlers who are not getting paid, who say Truax did accept $250,000, goes to Iowa, him and Real Woods are the only two dudes in the room getting paid bank.
Yeah.
Is there hostility in that wrestling room? I have to believe there's going to be some hostility.
I mean, you think Brands and Assad, Cassiope, and these guys, they've been working their tails off. They've been getting it done. And here my teammate's Rich over there, and he didn't do squat. He just moved in. He's not even a homeboy.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think. But so Truax going to Penn State, the national qualifier, 3 straight years, placed 4th for a second time. All-American honors at 184. I don't think you really touched on where is he going to wrestle? What weight? How's that going to work at Penn State?
Well, we don't know. The word has it was Brooks had trouble with weight, so they think Brooks will go to 97 and Truax 84. The neat thing about that 1-year pickup is whatever Brooks wants to do, I guess he can do. And Truax is there to cover. And I tell you, if that's true, he didn't take any money, and I expect big things out of Truax. Could he beat Kekheisen? Yeah, I think he could. He could end up a champ.
Ooh, looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that whole thing, I tell you, the whole thing with Nadal, of course, I wasn't a real big fan of any transfers in. I like You get who you recruited. You work with, but I understand we're going to have some transfers and stuff. It's just,
You're just an old man stuck in the mud over there, aren't you? You don't
well,
like no change.
did Woods win the title this past year?
He did not.
I wonder if the people that paid that money are happy about that.
Ooh, shot.
I'm just kidding. And do I personally think Woods will win next year? No, I don't. I think something about karma, something about it's just I don't like. I think the athletes could deserve money. This whole big thing, big paychecks. You know what?
Well,
I don't. I'm gonna not say everything I want to say on that subject.
you don't like the rule changes? I do. You don't like the transfer portal? I do. I like fireworks. I like sport.
One thing's for sure is Penn State, with the culture they got, with the legacy that they got going, the dynasty they got going, they're the ones that's most benefiting here. So really what I'm arguing against, my team, the team I like, benefits the most, as we can see. And, you know, a lot of people say if Nadal ends up getting bought by Iowa, that Penn State's going to end up with Cannon anyway. And I don't, and quite frankly, if I'm Chris Cannon, I kind of want to be a national champ. If I can't do it personally, at least I can do with the team and get my national championship there.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we're talking about the two 133-pounders, Chris Cannon and Nadal. Cannon looking at Penn State or Rutgers. Nadal between Iowa, Penn State, Cornell, and apparently just checked out Iowa State now.
Yeah. So I don't think he's.
So you think one's going to Iowa, the other's going to Penn State?
Well, Pat Minio, if that's how you pronounce his name, he thinks that Nadal's going to go to Iowa. He thinks that Iowa's offered them a bunch of cash, and that could be nothing but just speculation. And in all fairness to Iowa, no one's shown any evidence whatsoever. Woods did mention in an interview that the NIL is nice.
Yeah, it's nice having $200,000 in my bank account. It ain't too
NIL is nice. He's something to that effect. He didn't deny. No, I don't have any NIL deals. I picked Iowa because I went. No, he mentioned yes, the NIL is nice.
He admitted it. All right, who wins between Cannon and Nadal?
Well, if you went off of, I mean, how things looked right at the end of the year, probably Nadal in a close one. But I mean, Cannon's done it. He's what is he? A two-timer, two-time AA?
I'll look it up and get back to you.
I tell you, Cannon's a nice. The thing is
You think he with Penn State coaching, he's gonna two-time prep national champion, three-time finalist while finishing fourth at the Fargo Cadet Freestyle Nationals.
Yeah.
Wow, that boy has potential.
Yeah. Does it say how many AAs? I think it's 2.
I really hope he goes to Penn State because I would love to throw in some Cannon sound effects in these videos. I'm telling you right now. All right, Nadal going to go to Iowa. Cannon likely to go to Penn State. I want to talk about someone you mentioned briefly earlier. That is a big dog, Mitchell Mesenbrink, silver medalist at the U20 World Championships. Also a Fargo All-American, 2-time Wisconsin State champ. Took top honors at preseason nationals, recruiting showcase nationals, and USA Folk Style nationals before reaching the college level. This boy, tell me about his potential. And you mentioned earlier, a few episodes back, when Mesenbrink was thinking about schools, you said that Mesenbrink was quoted saying he wants to go somewhere that's going to make him better.
Yes.
And you said, if that boy don't take
Penn State, I knew that was just words.
Come on, Penn State, that's all words, baby.
Yeah. No, it turned out he was absolutely correct.
He meant it. He meant it.
I mean, that's the. Could he be a 4-timer? I mean, this coming year, if he ends up at 65 with O'Toole and Carr, and I've said before that if anybody could knock either of them two off, I don't doubt Mesenbrink might be able to. But no, I don't think he's going to be a 4-timer because of that. But we don't even know how Penn State's going to play it. They got Facundo in there. Yeah. Now, Mesenbrink took his red shirt last year. He has an Olympic red shirt left. So does Facundo.
Okay.
And Levi's got both. So there's some things that they can play around with, whether Mesenbrink can wait until Carr is gone. I know O'Toole plans on moving up to 74 after this coming year. He's going to be at 65 this coming year, but Askren said that the following year he plans on going 74. By the way, please make that happen. And then Carter, please come back. We would have one guy going for his 4th and one guy is going for his 5th, possibly.
Oh, my goodness.
That resembles Dake Taylor. That's Dake Taylor stuff right there.
Yeah, it is.
So
wow. Well, that's if you mentioned the Olympic red shirts. Were any big names who we think could redshirt this upcoming season? Carter's a possibility, isn't he?
No. I think Carter wants to move on to fighting, but and a lot of people are saying, well, Carter's saying he's may not even be back. He'll be back for his 4th. Let's be serious. Nobody in their right mind is going to give up getting their 4th. And there's a chance. I don't think we see Carter coming back for his 5th. Of course, he's the only guy that can get 5.
Wouldn't that be something? Do it at Penn State, baby.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever had to do that. I had to take a break. I had scramble brain there. I don't know. I drank my coffee. I don't know what the heck happened. I just, you know what?
All right, let's finish up on these recruits. My goodness. All right, Mesenbrink, he's going to be at 65 is what you're telling me.
Well, technically he said he'd go 57 or 65, and I'm sure him and Levi will work hand in hand, whoever wants to go up, whoever wants to go down. I hope Levi stays at 57 and Mesenbrink goes 65 out of the gates.
Who's winning? And what a practice that's going to be.
Facundo could take a Olympic red shirt. I don't want to lose Facundo because I think he's coming. He's no slouch. He had a nice year, a bad ending, but
you got to think he's hitting the transfer portal.
Well, the thing about Penn State, I mean, they got this Josh Barr. He's right at that weight. They got Joe Seeley. Now, Seeley's only a junior, so we're talking 2 years yet, but senior. Of course, he could redshirt too, but
just a loaded room.
They have quite a few studs right at that 57-65 coming recruits. So Joe Seeley is like one of the biggest recruits out there that Penn State got. And
I hope Facundo transfers to Iowa. Boomakundo in Iowa, that would just fit.
Well,
Ari, the Boomakundo. What about some other names here that are still hanging out there? DiAugustino at 125. Shane Griffith has not yet committed. Where do we expect him to go?
A lot of people speculating Griffith going to Michigan, which you talk about someone buying some wrestlers in. I heard some stories, and you know what? I don't know if they're true or not. That whole year that Suriano came in, that was basically for 1 year. I mean, that did have a stench to it, if you want me to be straight up. But I don't want to accuse anyone of doing something without any proof. And then the other part of me says, no, I don't want to be a little Mr. PC. I'm going to say something. I don't want to say something to upset people. No, I want to just lay it on them. I want to lay it out.
Put it on the table.
I want to lay it out and go ahead, write the hate mail it. No, I do want to be kind of
sure Penn State's not paying NIL deals.
No, because I think it can be done without Kale knowing. I think not if Kale has anything to do with it, but what?
Please, here we go.
You can see it.
I can't wait for the first report of a Penn State NIL deal. We're having a breaking live segment that day.
No.
A live reaction.
not Kale.
All right. Well, Penn State's getting all these recruits. I tell you who we really have not talked about getting a lot of recruits. That would be Iowa. That would be Tom Brands, currently under contract until 2029. Where is this program going? How do you feel if you're an Iowa fan right now?
Like I said, I'm angry. I'm angry about a whole bunch of stuff. Quite frankly, I'm angry because Penn State is getting all these studs. We're supposed to get the studs. We're Iowa. I'm angry about this whole the mistakes made with Spencer Lee. Whether you agree or not, I think common sense wise, there was mistakes made with Spencer Lee that had a negative impact on him. I'm angry about. It just seems like our team's taking injuries all the time at practice. Why? I can't figure that out. What's going on with my team? Penn State's never taken any injuries over there, but not every year. Oh, Iowa injury report. No, I'm mad about the transfers, how that looks. It looks like we're trying to buy a championship. I don't like that. I don't, even if it's true or not about the money being offered by Iowa, we're still kind of stuck with that that stigma, that reputation that I was out there trying to buy a champion. I don't like that. I don't like that.
You're not helping that.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't see a whole bunch of improvements out of our wrestlers. I'm not here to blast Tom Brands. I love Tom Brands, but the facts, like you could lay out the facts, the number of improvements I see, it just doesn't seem to be as much as Penn State. Penn State has guys they've turned completely around, the Cassars of the world, the Conaways of the world. I could go on and on and on. And I'm not saying nobody ever improves at Iowa, but I ain't seeing a whole bunch. You take like Warner. Warner was an absolute stud all 5 years. He even looked kind of bad at times this past year and then did so well. But here was his graph for all 5 years. You know, it's like it didn't culminate in that natty. And like that bothers me. I don't like when my coach does these press conferences, a couple press conferences this past year. He comes on, and the very first thing he says is, "We need a better lineup." And it's like, dude. Come on. I mean, the wrestlers are listening to that. Now, in Brand's defense, he also say, well, the backup, Jimmy Jones did a fine job back up there, but we need a better lineup. And it's like, dude, I'm trying to build Jimmy Jones up. You got to I'm not talking about, you got to be pampering these wrestlers nowadays. This isn't the old days. I'm just saying there's a new way of doing things, and the mindset of a wrestler is enormous. And if you got a guy knowing you believe in him, he's going to start believing in himself. And I just...
Well, he believed in Spencer.
There's a lot of stuff that Brands has this long contract, and I don't see any end in sight. Now, things could change. You could say, all I know is all these purchases... Let's pretend, for the sake of our argument, that they were purchases, that the Ironmans and the DeSantos and the Woods and the Teskies and even like Cassiope, that we actually kind of purchased them. I ain't gonna just keep that on the down low. We kind of purchased them. How'd that work out? How many of them won titles? Tidies. No, You know what, Zach? Sometimes you should just cock me down because now I'm coming off as a major Tom Brands hater. And
well, no, you were just the Iowa fan. Okay, Mr. Iowa fan.
That's true.
You told us what the problem was. Now, how do we fix it? What does Iowa need to do? Do they need to fire Brands? Does Brands need to tweak his style? I mean,
if Brands is unwilling to make changes, which I think he probably is, all them injuries that it seemed that they always had at their practices. You know what? You get guys too fatigued, they're going to get injured. And, Penn State apparently doesn't do a whole bunch of live wrestling. To me, I know it's boring. Nothing but drill. Now you can drill with different degrees of resistance by your partner, and your partner is absolutely huge in that. But to me, that's enormous. I really don't want anything to change. I'm enjoying this dynasty, but the other part of me is, you know what? Let's say Iowa doesn't get all 3 Ferraris and Nadal this year. Michigan's going to be pretty good. Cornell's going to be pretty good. But am I really worried about losing a duel or a national championship? No. And you know what? Nothing's more fun than like that year Penn State beat Ohio State and they weren't supposed to. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
now they better win.
But you know, Tom Brands is a legend, and he's so important to college wrestling, both of the brands. So I'm kind of blasting on them, and I don't want to. Look. I'm just a hack fan out here. I'm nothing more than a fan.
I'll tell you this, Tom Brand's way more entertaining than Kale.
Yeah,
I'll take watching him. 10 out of 10.
You know, if you have me role playing as an Iowa fan, I'm being straight up with you. This is the thoughts that are going inside my head, and I'm mad about a lot of that stuff.
It's hard to argue that.
You know, that the whole culture that he's got, and another term he uses all the time, is you got to do your job. Our guys, they got to do their job. Job? What job? Who am I working for? Am I working for you, Tom? Because I ain't getting no paycheck over here. I mean,
we got a lot of work.
Can we talk NIL? That's sit down. No. And then Kel's over there. He's preaching his new age. It's just a game.
Sick.
It's just a game. Well, the old game's working out pretty well.
Yeah. He's winning that game.
Game's working out pretty well.
That recruiting game, he sure is winning. But all right. Speaking of Penn State, it was announced next year the Olympic trials will be in the Bryce Jordan Center. Not even debatable, the best place to wrestle in the world. Pretty excited about that. BEG Wrestling will be there, folks. Full mat access on the mat. But about those trial, why don't you wanted to kind of wrap up the trial winners and how that's going to exactly work?
Well, we didn't touch on it during our preview, but at 3 weights, 61, 92, and 125, the trials, which, when did I tell you that was?
May 20th and 21st.
On May 20th, 21st, them 3 weights are important at the
61, 92,
trials.
and 125 kilograms.
The champions from them 3 weights at the trials will take on the champions of them 3 weights of the Open. Them 2 will meet at Final X. We didn't really explain that out the whole way last time, but that'll make the trials somewhat fun, but really all the fun's going to be at the Open. The Open's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And can I just say, I feel bad and guilty, and I love Iowa fans, and I love Tom Brands, and you know what? That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun. Ohio State, I love they're coming with the lineup they got. They're coming. Daggone Cornell. Michigan's always there. I love seeing programs come up. As much as I love Penn State, I love this dynasty. I want them to have to work for it every year too. And I mean,
can you imagine how boring college wrestling would be without Brands in Iowa?
That's true.
I mean, come on.
You say, well, what's Penn State to do? It's like the whole Max Dean thing. Max Dean came calling Penn State. Penn State never even reached out to Max Dean. He forced himself in the door. Was Kel going to say, no, get out? You know, he can't. No, I'm telling you, people just want to be part of that program because they have this drive inside of them. They want to become the best they can be. And right now, every indicator is you do that at Penn State and Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. That's what every indicator is pointing to. But,
I mean, in all seriousness, has there ever been a dynasty in sports that matches this? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
70s, 80s Celtics.
especially wrestling. Oklahoma State held that for how many years? And then Gable came along, and Gable held it for how many years? And now, of course, Penn State and Cale has it. And so wrestling seems to have these long dynasties that are happening. But the one thing you can't deny is Cale did kind of change the game here a little bit. And he is not Mr. Entertaining, but you cannot deny whatever he's doing to have them wrestlers at the best mindset that they need to be at to be their best. I don't think it is tensed up. I think it is loose, having fun, and I mean, you think about the best athletic performances you ever had.
Oh yeah, you're always loose.
Yeah, you're loose.
I mean,
you're
I
loose.
agree. Kale's changing the game, but the game is changing with these rule changes. We got a lot of recruits. You know, I'll tell you one thing. Watching this stuff, how are we watching this? You want to talk about an idea?
Yes. Yes. Here is my idea. You know, for the wrestling fan, it's a pain in the neck because every wrestling season comes along and you got to sign up for the BTN. And you got to remember, auto renewals, can't forget to cancel that. So you got that going with the BTN. You got to do the same thing with the ESPN Plus. You got to do the same thing with, you wish you had Flow. You wish you had Rockfin. You wish you had Wrestling Stats, the other conferences, and seeing their matches. I wish one website or one platform charged you one ticket. Here, Mr. Wrestling Fan, here's our price, and here's the platform. And we'll even have double screen for you. If you have an ACC big duel happening and a Big Ten big duel, right? Just like the semifinals, we'll put it side by side for you. Right there on that same platform, you want to check and see what Flow's got going, you can go there. You can see what Rockfin's, see what Wrestling Reports got going over there. Wrestling Stats, want to check wrestling. It'd be so nice to have one place to go, simplified. One place to go. And you could just keep that subscription or maybe cancel at the end of the wrestling season. It just seems like there's got to be someone that could put this together where it just simplifies it for the wrestling fan. There's so many areas that you got to sign up for here to see this match, to see that match. It's kind of a pain in the neck.
Just a wrestling ticket.
Yeah, like overall the grand wrestling ticket. And I'm sure somebody down the line will do it.
Maybe us.
I don't know. Maybe you. I ain't got the technology. But that would be absolutely awesome if I could go to one place, sign up, and I got full access to everything. Even to see Cal Poly wrestle. You know what? I got it. I go to my little page here. It's going to be on. And just have it simplified for us old guys that can't figure things out. Make it very, very simple. Real big buttons we can't see all the way. You know, all really nice stuff. That, I don't know if such a thing could ever be done. That would be so great, though.
Well, that sounds like something down the road for BEG Wrestling. I'm telling you right now, our average age viewer between 35, 65. Vast majority of our audience.
Yes. The Open is coming, Zach.
The Open is coming?
The Open is coming. And wrestling fans, love you. I'm going to say stuff that makes you mad once in a while, but love you. I'm passionate. I know you are really starting to get into this sport. I'm dragging you in. You just
dragging me in.
Dragging me in.
Dragging me in, folks. And we're dragging you in. If you like this content and like and subscribe. I'm supposed to say that. I always forget to say that at the start. That's like the most important thing.
To say,
read the YouTube rules. You just keep saying like and subscribe. Keep saying like it. I hate that.
Yeah, and
I hate saying it.
We never even give our names at this.
I hate saying it.
Let's break all the rules, Zach. Let's break all the rules.
Yeah.
Or Wayne.
Let's break it with.
I'm Wayne. I'm Zach. This is Wayne. No. Okay.
All right, folks. This is BEG Wrestling. Until
By the way,
time.
Before we go, what about your brother? When are you going to get him one here?
Yeah, he's camera shy.
You got your sister, your little brother over there. Is he scared?
He's camera shy.
Yeah. I remember back in the old days when he was just a little kid, always scared. I had to give him an extra little kick in the pants. Go boy. You got to go out there. Go out there and do that.
All right, don't be tonguing up that mic. All right, folks, BG Wrestling. Like and subscribe. Until next time. Here
Love
we
you guys.